Hey founders! As founders, we've all heard those daunting stats about the proportion of startups that fail or ideas that never even make it to launch. So, what can we do to change those odds? How can we give ourselves a materially better chance of success? One Day has developed an assessment framework to help you screen your ideas and plot your likeliest path to a successful startup. This is not a paint-by-number checklist, nor is it a silver bullet for success. It is a summary of everything we've learned through our work with founders over the past few years. The framework will guide you towards a path of least resistance, one that minimizes obstacles, challenges, and friction in your pursuit of starting and growing a successful business. At each stage, as you audit your idea, you'll be faced with questions of pivoting or making iterations to your problem space, customer, or solution. This exercise aims to force reflection on the potential of each idea, but the framework is just as useful as an audit tool for founders with a more developed idea or businesses already at revenue. Wherever you're at on your journey, be candid with yourself and think deeply about each question. Let's dive into it.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Melodia, and I've worked with over 100 startups in the past 6 years. This masterclass aims to provide you with a cheat code for early stage idea development. Follow it thoroughly and you can avoid the most common mistakes that founders routinely make as their idea builds steam. We will work through the 6 critical questions that every founder should ask themselves as they feel their excitement building around a new idea. Can the founder affordably reach at least 20 target customers to interview? First up, a customer discovery challenge. Can you affordably reach at least 20 target customers to interview? To be honest, this is the easiest hurdle to clear because most of us will be able to beg or borrow introductions to 20 or so customers early on. Now, this shouldn't mean spending a ton of money on ads. We want you to stay away from those for now and think of organic ways you can reach them without emptying your wallet or using up more time than you already have. So when we mention affordability in this context, we're emphasizing accessibility. This implies that your customers are within reach, either in terms of geography or online presence, without requiring substantial expenses. To answer this question, think about who these people are. Get specific. Are they gamers, fitness enthusiasts, or tech fans? In the business-to-business or B2B world, focus on identifying the specific industries or professional sectors that you want to reach. Again, be specific. Are your targets in finance, healthcare, technology, or manufacturing? How big are the companies? Which countries are you targeting? Get creative. Once you've narrowed down your customer niche, think creatively about where your customers might spend their time. If you are looking for new parents to talk about your idea for a sustainable no plastic toy subscription, then maybe hit coffee shops in town on weekday mornings. Find out where the local parent-baby groups meet physically or drop into local parent groups on Facebook. Or if you're developing the idea for a new productivity platform for C-suite executives, then jump on the first-class carriage of a train heading out of the city or find out the times of local community events for CEOs on Meetup. If reaching these people seems impossible or too expensive, then it's a clear sign that you should pivot. As we work through the framework, we are going to follow the story of Priya, a tech and business journalist for the New York Times. Over the course of her career, Priya specialized in business and breakthrough technologies. She has used content AI tools like Jasper.ai to check and refine her writing for a few years now, and she wants to leverage this experience to start looking for a business idea. Priya has a hunch that she can use a large language model powered chatbot to drive some kind of career support service for women. She envisioned an AI career advisor for women in tech that would create bespoke career paths and milestones, and provide recommendations for articles, podcasts, and training. Let's use this framework to assess the strength of Priya's hunch. First up, can Priya affordably reach at least 20 target customers to interview? Simply put, yes, she can. As a journalist with nearly 10 years of experience, she has a wide network of contacts that sit inside her target audience who she can feasibly reach out to. Big tick. Problem validation. Is the target customer currently paying to solve this problem? Next up, is the target customer currently paying to solve the problem you have identified? Some founders can be put off by the idea of discovering competitors in a similar space to their idea, but the very existence of competitors underlines the intensity of the problem they are trying to solve. A customer's problem can be small, like paper cuts, distressing like a persistent headache, or severe and require immediate attention, like a broken leg. The analogies aren't pleasant, but they bring home the key point. Find a pain point on this side of the scale. Proving that customers are already paying to solve the problem is great validation that the problem is intense enough. You might find a competitor selling something similar or evidence that customers are paying to solve the problem with an entirely unrelated product or service. But either way, this is a green light as a quick proxy that the problem is real. Now, if your answer to the question is no, as you haven't found evidence that people are paying to solve your problem, it's not a dead end, but it does present a considerable challenge. Convincing people to allocate a budget for something entirely new is tough. So our advice here is pretty clear. Think long and hard about whether you are solving a problem that matters. You may well be on a path to solving a problem that no one cared enough about to pay. In this case, consider pivoting, starting with a known problem that people are already paying to solve. Think about a solution that is a dramatic improvement on the status quo, or think about how an existing solution could be sold into a much more specific audience with a narrower set of problems. So let's go back to Priya's story. With her work, she had come across a range of different ways to support women's career development, from training programs, mentorship, or professional coaching, to more targeted services helping returning mothers to re-establish their careers after a period of maternity leave. She knew from first-hand experience that companies were paying to solve the problem of retaining top female talent with targeted career support options. So much so that her worry soon flipped. Was this already a solved problem, or could she identify an underserved opportunity? Gap in the market. Has the founder identified a pain point that is underserved? So next up is another question related to the problem space. Has the founder identified an underserved pain point? What we are asking here is whether or not the pain point you're focusing on is adequately addressed by existing solutions. First, what you're looking to understand is the competitive landscape. The approach to answering this question is to conduct some desk-based competitor research. Take a close look at the landscape and evaluate the success of existing alternatives. Understand what's already out there and how well it's meeting the needs of your potential customers. Take time to identify your full range of competitors. Start with those offering direct solutions to the problem that you're tackling. Then expand your horizon to include less direct or less obvious ways to solve the same problem. For instance, if your pain point is a poor sleep quality and you're considering an app as a solution, don't just focus on other sleep or meditation apps. Also consider products like smart mattresses and supplements. Next, scrutinize their strengths and weaknesses. Look into customer reviews and feedback to understand what users love or find lacking in these existing options. Are customers satisfied with the solutions, or are there gaps indicating unmet needs? This intelligence is gold. It not only helps you gauge the viability of your idea, but also offers insights into potential improvements or unique selling points. In some business categories, say digital marketplaces, too much competition is a real red flag. If there is already a dominant market leader, it will be a huge struggle to win enough share. The dominant leader likely has established market share, customer loyalty, and resources that can make it difficult for new competitors to gain traction. Unless you have a clearly disruptive idea or a well-defined, more targeted niche, you should probably take stock and pivot. How did Priya go about answering this question? Through her desk research and early conversations, she has discovered that within top tech firms, existing solutions were flawed. For many of the dedicated mentorship programs, there was no formal progress tracking. Return on investment was difficult to prove, and top-tier coaches were incredibly expensive. Priya was confident that there was a clear, underserved need for a highly personalized mentorship service that could scale beyond top-tier executives who tended to get the benefit. Demand validation. Does the founder have the finances to reach this audience and test demand? The next question should be discussed with your mentor well before you start detailed desk research and customer discovery. You will need to ask yourself whether you have the resources to reach your target audience and test demand. At One Day, this demand validation stage happens before you spend time and money on building a solution. We will look for signals of buying intent, like a click on a buy now or a join a waitlist button. Most founders with consumer-facing businesses, like a consumer fashion brand or a new line of cosmetics, will tend to do this using a paid ads channel like Facebook or Google Ads. This will usually require a bit of upfront capital, say 3 to 5K or so, to test the idea. So if your idea is a business to consumer, B2C, and you are tight on cash, it's time to get creative. Generally, there are 2 routes for founders with no marketing budget. Number 1, get specific with your audience. Consider narrowing your focus to an even tighter audience niche. For example, narrowing down your clothing line to focus on pregnant women seeking winter maternity fashion would allow you to grow your brand through online forums or groups of mums in colder climates. Alternatively, you could explore opportunities to target a more exclusive segment within your customer base and cater to a higher end market with a more premium offering. Getting more specific in this way will allow you to be much more focused when targeting your audience on an ads platform like Facebook or Google. The narrower the group, the cheaper the campaign. 2, pivot into a new channel. Alternatively, think about a B2B approach. For example, if you had an idea for a cosmetic brand, you could potentially pivot into targeting beauty salons, freelance beauticians, or film and TV production companies. Another more affordable route for a B2C offer is by building a community. Start through active engagement on social media and forums, fostering discussions, and sharing valuable content. A strong community functions as a potent word-of-mouth marketing channel. The founder of Lively, a bra company that has been sold for $105 million, successfully built a community by inviting members of well-established groups to join a mailing list where they discussed comfort and support issues, amassing 133,000 email addresses overnight. On balance, if you can't afford to push the paid channel, then you shouldn't expect overnight success here. If you are less able to invest the capital, then be prepared to substitute that for effort, whether that is through the hard yards of cold outreach, if you're more B2B, or the intense commitment required to build a dedicated community. Ultimately, if your answer to this question is no, consider a pivot. If it's too expensive to reach your target audience to test demand, it will be too difficult to reach them to actually sell your product. Let's get back to Priya's AI career mentorship idea. She was feeling confident about identifying an existing underserved problem. Now, she just had to reach this audience and test demand. She started a cold outreach campaign through LinkedIn and email to reach big tech companies. And soon enough, she was getting initial interest. A decent percentage of recipients were opening her emails and booking in meetings. However, after the first set of calls, she quickly realized that talking to time-poor senior executives at big tech companies was not easy. Priya didn't have much sales experience, and she was really struggling to close out interest in the idea. Senior corporate sales just wasn't her strong suit. She contemplated other channels like content marketing and industry events, but concluded that it would either take too long or cost too much. So when it came to answering the question about demand validation, Priya knew she was blocked. She either needed a co-founder who could come in and head up her sales function, or to step back and think again about a new problem with a more accessible growth channel. After detailed discussions with her mentor, she decided to pivot. Priya took a step back to think again about the overlaps between her passions, skills, and emerging opportunities. she mapped out a common list of problems that she had come across in her line of work as well as in her personal life. One in particular stood out to her. A few months previous, her grandmother became seriously ill, and Priya saw firsthand just how precarious her personal family history was becoming. Over the course of a few weeks' stay in hospital, Priya would sit with her grandmother asking question after question, trying to deepen her understanding of the years her grandmother had lived and build a more solid picture of the generations that preceded her. The intensity of the risk brought Priya to a completely new type of problem to solve. What if there was a way to capture a family story and preserve memories over generations? Priya went back to the idea assessment framework. Starting off, she knew she could reach 20 people pretty straightforwardly. She had built up a decent personal following through LinkedIn and Facebook, and she thought it would be likely she could connect with a reasonable number of willing people who had lost loved ones. Next, she reflected on whether people were currently paying to solve this problem. At its core, the pain point was cherishing memories and keeping a lineage alive. People already solve this problem through photographs, videos, dictaphones, and family heirlooms. The idea scored really well on the question of problem intensity. Following that, she had to investigate whether there was a gap in the market. After conducting research around the problem space, she found that there was very little awareness of any new or novel ways to address the problem. The more she spoke to potential customers, often the adult children of elderly parents, the more she started to visualize the solution. She could use a content AI tool to support families to co-author an elderly family member's memoirs and then provide physical copies to the wider family. When it came to demand validation, she was more unsure. She couldn't think of a direct way to reach her target audience outside of paid ads. Her budget was extremely limited and thought this would be unaffordable. So she contacted an old school friend who worked at a large performance marketing agency and was advised that she could actually use Facebook pretty affordably if she could be hyper-specific with her audience targeting. So she decided to focus on individuals in their 50s and 60s who she figured would have pretty elderly parents. She focused further on anyone who followed a charity related to age-related diseases. Priya felt that Facebook would be a good start at the very least to start testing early traction. She tentatively said yes, with the knowledge that she might need to switch to a more affordable growth channel in the future if ad costs became too high. Solution space. Can this problem be approached and solved in multiple ways? The final stages of evaluation speak to the solution. Early on, the specifics of the solution don't matter, as your initial idea will almost certainly transform and evolve as you learn more about the customer's needs. So the most important question to ask here is whether the problem can be solved in multiple ways. If your idea has that scope, then you can move forward knowing that you don't have to get the product perfect from the outset. You have the flexibility to figure your way to something that people will love. The danger here is when founders start with a solution in mind and go looking for a problem. If the solution space is too narrow, then you can do a lot of good groundwork, only to realize that your one solution doesn't land or isn't feasible. Take, for example, an app that uses a new technology that can translate the needs of a baby from listening to its cry. If the technology is defective or too expensive to develop, then there is no obvious way to pivot. Demand for the app at the testing stage might be off the scale, but the founder may well just be unable to deliver a solution that solves the problem. The ideas with the best chance of success are based on problems that can be solved in a wide variety of ways. If your answer to this question is no, then consider a pivot or address the risks around your solution at the earliest stage. In Priya's case, she felt positive about this question. She knew there were different ways to address the problem of families losing memories when elderly relatives become ill. A quick shortlisting exercise generated a few plausible solution options, such as using AI to capture recipes for a family cookbook, organising video files into a documentary, or building out a detailed family tree. She kept these ideas of alternative paths in mind. Why you? Is this founder well placed to solve this problem? Finally, ask yourself whether you are an obvious person to develop the solution. In short, why you? This doesn't mean that you have to be able to manufacture a physical product, a prototype, or write code, but do you have enough familiarity with the solution space to know what needs to be built? One common mistake for non-technical founders developing a technical solution is to underestimate the importance of the hard work of finding product market fit, or coming up with a solution idea that is technically infeasible or just too expensive to build. If you have an idea to use blockchain technology to help big sports and music venues authenticate tickets and prevent fraud, then you probably need to start with some insight into blockchain technology, or at least have a good candidate for a technical co-founder. This question revolves around founder idea fit. The overall concept of founder idea fit is the alignment of knowledge, skills, passion, and timing with your business idea. Exceptional founders and great ideas don't exist independently. So an idea can work for one founder while not for someone else. Why me? Why now? If your answer to this question is no, consider finding a co-founder or pivot to a new idea. Priya thought long and hard about this final question, why me, why now? She was a journalist and didn't come into this with a rich technical background. However, she had been using AI content tools for the past 4 years and was extremely well read on trained large language models. Beyond her more recent fascination with AI, her idea brought together her passion for books and her personal expertise as a writer. She knew that she would be happy to dedicate the next 10 years of her career to building her business. So, Priya had a clean sweep. Each area of the screening tool was ticked. This at least gave her the confidence to kick off the first deep stage of problem validation, and she began booking her first 20 customer interviews.
Now that you have the criteria, you are ready to strategically evaluate business ideas. Use the one-day idea assessment framework as your quick desk-based screening tool. Ultimately, it is a pre-mortem on each idea, helping you forecast obstacles before you hit them. If the tool helps you to identify a potential issue down the line, then kill your idea early on and move to the next. Killing an idea at the earliest stage could save you huge amounts of energy and capital down the line. So, to summarize, here are 5 key takeaways from the masterclass. It is highly unlikely that the idea you will start with will be the same one that you launch. You should expect to pivot around the problem and solution stages multiple times until you arrive at a value proposition with high potential. The framework should help you to avoid the common mistakes that most founders make, but isn't a crystal ball. Test multiple ideas and make sure that the winner clears each stage before you move to customer interviews. If you have an existing business or a well-developed idea and it doesn't clear each question, then seriously think about the next best alternative to your plan A. Take confidence from killing ideas quickly. It will cost next to nothing to leave an idea behind at this stage. So as counterintuitive as it seems, killing your idea is a fantastic progress. So be honest with yourself and prepare to be brutal.